Hey everybody, welcome to Leon's Chainsaw Parts and Repair. I am ready to put the new jet into this carburetor, but I thought let's try to get a baseline of what the maximum RPMs it will attain with this .030, and then we'll see what it does with the .028 just here on the bench. There may be no difference at all, but I'm betting that there will be some. That's just my guess. But by nature, the way these are designed is to run rich on the bench and then clean up in the wood. So again, without a load on it, I may not be able to see any difference at all. But we'll do this for science. That would hold a little better, the final reading. 82 to 8300 RPM was the best I could get out of it. So that's our baseline. And I think I primed the oil pump. That means I'm slinging oil everywhere. So let's just see what kind of a difference we can make. Well, I've got this apart. I'm going to try and figure out what's leaking fuel. There may be a split in this fuel hose that I wasn't aware of. It'd be small, but I'm getting a small bit of fuel around. Oh, there is. Damn. Well, no. I lied. I don't know what I was seeing, but I am getting a little bit of fuel out and about. Okay, I forgot about that choke rod. That's an interesting setup, to be sure. Get both of those pieces out of there. And try not to lose them. Come on, you. Okay. I also want to weigh, while I have it in here, to weigh that saw with that bar and see what it is. Alright. So the fuel inlet. All of that stuff is where we're going to find the high-speed nozzle here. And we may have to take off. Oop. Yeah, I think we might. unless I can set that in a vise in a way that I can guarantee that tapping out the that jet doesn't cause some damage to that impulse port. That is something we do not want to damage. So there she is. And there's our high-speed jet. I will see if the camera is focusing enough for you guys to read the .030 on that. Hopefully it is. So I guess let's inspect our new part first. Make sure it is what we think it's supposed to be before definitely smaller. Not. Well, that stamping isn't great, but I can see where it says a 2.8. Size looks right. Okay. Now again, this has no high-speed needle, so I don't have to worry. The update video, I said something about damaging a high-speed needle where you drive a high-speed check valve and nozzle out where there is a high-speed adjustment. You almost always need to back the needle completely out. In this case, there's nothing there. This is going over to the low-speed side. That's the low-speed mixture screw. So we have no worries. You can see the nozzle sticking out into the throat of the carburetor, so we're just going to tap that all the way through. And I'm going to close the choke so that it can't go anywhere. And we're going to do this over at the vise. And that's the most effective way of making sure I don't do any damage to anything. So let me see if I can get camera angle over there that's worthy. That's pretty good. So we'll close the jaws of the vise down so that I'm basically supporting it on the screws of the carburetor itself. There we go. And then all you need is some sort of a tool to drive it through. You want something that is big enough that you catch most of what you're driving, but not so big that you damage the area around it. And this qualifies. So we're just going to tap that through into the carb throat. Very simple. So now when I open the choke, out it comes. There's the old one. Obviously we're not going to get rid of that, but set it aside for a moment. And let's go ahead and we're here, put the new one in. So the fuel inlet into this jet, it's drilled off of the main chamber here. Dang it. There's a passage right here. It's drilled right in. And so then that groove that is cut around right here is actually allowing some fuel to pass through there. But as I'm looking at this, that's feeding, that's actually the feed for the low-speed needle, and that's where having this depth is critical, because as the throttle plate opens and the demand for fuel is there, it's just going to directly feed fuel off of this chamber and down and through. So square it up. Get it started when you're sure you're not damaging a casting. Just tap it in. Make like Happy Gilmore. Just tap it in. And it was flush with the carburetor chamber previously, so you want it flush when you reinstall it. Good enough. That's it. Now, obviously these old carburetor parts aren't going to be the easiest thing on the planet to come by these days. But the seller on eBay had a few more of these in stock. I'm not buying them. I have no reason to. If this works, this is a one and done for me. And there's no way that in the wood I don't gain a little bit of RPM off of this. It's just absolute impossibility for it to not help. But here on the bench, it may not show up at all. And I'm okay with that. But I would also be surprised if it didn't. But that hose does fit a little loose. Don't know what to think about that. Alright, let's fire it back up. See if we can get an RPM difference. What do we got going on here? What do we have going on? Well, I'd like to know what I changed in there so dramatically. I'm getting way more RPMs, but not in a good way. What in the world? What in the world indeed? Oh. Wondering if I pinched that gasket. might have. Oh, that looks like crap. Yeah, that looks like crap. And this thing won't quit dripping. And I want to. Okay, I'm going to clean that up and put a better gasket, a new gasket on there. And we'll come back. Okay, it is amazing how much a thousandth of an inch can make. I am not at all convinced that I won't have to upsize this one at all, because I'm getting this up to around 10,000 RPM easily once it clears out the low speed side. So, you know what? We will see. Best way to tell is to put it in some wood. And if I think it's too lean, you can be damn certain I will shut it right back down and order another jet. One size up. But I'll be honest, going 2 jet sizes down, to me, feels like turning a normal adjustment screw almost a quarter turn. Maybe a quarter turn. So, take that for what it is. We'll see when we get this in some wood. But for now, that's the process that you would use to tune a non-adjustable high-speed jet when the OEMs, and in this case it's Tillotson and McCulloch, whatever collaboration they had, they offered those jets. You could actually go 2 sizes smaller than this. Now, you'd have to be running a really thick oil mixture or at a super high elevation, higher than me, before you would ever want to consider doing that. But, there you go. Catch you guys on the next video.